Speechsmiths, welcome back. Fricative. The fricative sound is the sound of air being squeezed. S is a fricative, so is V. You've got the voiced and the unvoiced. Z is the voice. My vocal folds are vibrating, they're phonating, squeezing the air and vibrating. Z, and you can hear the sound of the air being squeezed on my tongue tip and my alveolar ridge. Z, that's the S sound. So there's that sound and the vocal folds vibrating. And that's the fricative. You got 4 different fricatives that you'll use for this warm-up. And they all have some slightly different feelings to them. And for example, the sh one tends to be better for the lower pitches. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's because the tongue is sort of bunching a bit more, it holds the sound further back. You have to create a bit more space and drop the larynx. And you can get really low pitches, so we'll play with that. TH sound. I like doing that one the least because I spend so much time teaching that one to people. And I like to give my teeth a bit of a break. Sometimes I worry what's going to happen to my teeth when I'm older. They all just going to fall apart from doing that constantly. I don't know. But F and V is probably going to be your bread and butter one. The nicest, easiest, warmest, simplest one, where obviously your bottom lip is just squeezing the air on the bottom of your top teeth. I'm not going to go through each individual position in this video. I'm just going to show you more about how I would use these for the vocal warm-up. So, start with a nice V, which begins with an F. And then I start to squeeze my vocal folds and turn it into a V. Just doing a nice little moving up and down with the pitch. This is a really good exercise to do if you have quite a nasal resonance or very tight resonance, or you're very staccato in your voice, because what that usually is air pressure. You've got a lot of air pressure, and what can tend to happen is the voice box is pushing a little higher and the vocal folds are squeezing a little tighter. And we want to start to relax and drop the voice box a bit, which we'll do especially with the sigh, but also to loosen the vocal folds. If you do your F and V, if you do a V, and it sounds more like, and you can't really hear the F as much, it's how you want it to sound. But if it sounds like, or you're probably a bit tight here, or here, you might be squeezing the lip too tight against the teeth, or the vocal folds are squeezing a bit too tight. Usually it's both. It's a little combination of both. And so you want to practice coming off and on phonation. You'll be doing the F and you're trying to bring your vocal folds on. And if you feel really deeply, you might see that as your vocal folds are moving in and squeezing, they don't phonate, they don't start to vibrate straight away. There's like a critical mass point where they start to vibrate when they get tight enough. And then when you're coming off, they'll actually keep vibrating a little longer as you're coming off, and you'll end up a little wider at the point where they come off and stop vibrating. Then when you came on, you have to bring them on tighter to make them start. Whereas once they're going, as they move apart again, they can actually get a little wider because they're already going. It's like a chainsaw. You have to sort of. And then once it's going, it's going. If that makes any sense. Try again. F and start to really slowly, as slow as you can, bring the vocal folds on and let them start to vibrate. And then really slow, start to take them off and see if you can feel what I'm talking about. You might need to do it a bit more if it's your first time doing it before you start to feel these little sweaty details. Maybe not. Some people will feel them straight away. So. If you run out of air part way, that's fine. Just pick up where you left off. I got a really nice slow fade off there where they were vibrating just slightly and then they finally came to a rest and the F continued. Really important to practice that skill, coming off and on phonation whilst you continue the exhalation, because you're constantly voicing for voiced sounds, not voicing for unvoiced sounds. So your vocal folds have to come off and on all the time. What most people do is they use their mouth to stop the flow of air instead of coming off and on with the vocal folds. That's what you want to do to make it sound really legato, to get very precise, to stop the mouth jumping, and to allow especially those plosives to trip out the mouth without losing them. Trip out, trip out, trip out, trip out. We want the second one, not the first one. Okay, some more fricatives. We'll get away from some of that talk about the mechanics. Let's just focus on warming up with these fricatives a bit more. How about a louder and quieter? How was that? Did you try that? I could feel that point where my vocal folds almost wanted to cough a little bit, so I was adjusting my posture, because usually that might be a little bit tension in here. And you want to keep your shoulders not rounded too far forward, but just settled, nice and loose towards the back. Strong posture. Don't let the neck come too far forward or go too far like this. Everyone has their own tension configuration, which will create a sort of deadening effect on the sound. And as you're doing these warm-ups, you want to stay nice and loose. So you might do a bit of and the sound, you can use the sound to try to feel where you're holding the tension, because you'll get a vibration. And that vibration can help you feel where it's a bit tight or a bit numb or a bit deadened. We'll go up and down. At the very lower pitches, my F sound is getting a lot quieter because the air is moving slower. It's harder to activate the vocal folds there. because they're much sort of looser, and the air isn't flowing as quickly as if it's at the higher pitch where it's pulling tighter. So I end up sort of squeezing and trying to push the air harder, but it's hard to keep it activating at that lower pitch. And so my F gets a lot quieter. So it's just noticing these ways that your instrument, the different parts, the breath, the voice box, the mouth, they're all acting on one another to produce that sound at the end. Obviously, it flows this way, starts with the breath, through the voice box, and then out the mouth. So tuning in that mind muscle connection all the time as you're doing this to feel the different moving parts and try to isolate and control. Yeah, how about a S and Z? I like to do like higher pitches with this one. I think it sounds kind of fun, like a B or something. I know it sounds getting really tight there. Yeah, I can really feel that in my voice box, almost that sort of cough or that dryness. A bit of water. Oh, I can feel my neck getting a little tight there as well. One more. How about we'll do two more. We'll do one on the TH and then we'll do the SH. We'll show the lower pitches of that. TH, really good one to practice with the off and on, because you're going to use those different THs a lot and they can get a bit confusing. A lot of the time people will say with instead of with, or they'll say was, especially the Spanish accent. But you're not alone in this, Spaniards. A lot of other accents will do this too. That's just one that came to mind. Was, is. And then conversely, you might say certain sounds that should be an S with a Z, like voice instead of boys, boys, girls, 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 z, 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 girls. SH, really low pitch. Let's try this. You do a really low pitch, come up slightly, hold it, and then go right back down again. It's going to go something like just like that, but really, really slow. Let me go another semitone lower. You can hear the she's like kind of quivering a bit. The air is not flowing as smoothly. One more, even lower. Oh, scarcely more than a mumble at the very bottom there. So there you go. 4 fricatives. There's 2 other fricatives. The R sound, R, and the H sound. But they don't have voiced and unvoiced variations, so you don't do both at the same time. You do the fricative, again, just to remind you, to make sure the air is flowing out enough and that you're not too tight on your mouth or your vocal folds. Folds. That's one of the main reasons you'll practice that. And also to get control in here, and also because it just feels nice. That's the fricative for you. Thanks, Speechsmiths. I'll see you on the next one.